Hey there. I was thinking about uh, the economy and our collective situation here, and it occurred to me very early, even the first couple weeks of this silliness. There are obviously going to be some things that we're not going to purchase or buy or do or participate in anytime soon. Um, and I know that a lot of people have thought about this, maybe in sort of piecemeal fashion, but I wanted to kind of go through it in sort of an economics, uh, POV, right? So personally, we own a home, and we had some money put aside to do some home improvements. I know some people take out home improvement loans, which is fine, I guess. But we're maybe a little bit old school. We had saved some money to repair our front porch, and uh, we were planning on doing it this spring, late spring, ironically. And we we needed to redo our front porch. It's kind of getting dilapidated. The weather's getting to it. It needs to be a couple pieces of wood need to be replaced. It needs to be sanded and reprimed and painted. And this is a professional thing. I could probably do it, um, but it involves some height and some ladders and some probably some professional tools that I don't have. I have paintbrushes and things, but beyond that, and I can paint. I can paint a room. I can paint a room in a house like nobody's business. But um, I had priced this out, or we had priced this out to do it correctly, and it was uh, you know a few $1,000s, right, with materials and time, and got a few bids, and we had a guy lined up to do it, and he's a local businessman. He's a local contractor, and he has some guys that work with him. And he's a very small business. He does essentially a glorified handyman. And he went to the trouble of coming out and looking at this project and talking with me about it. And I had already started thinking about paints and things like that. And very quickly after March 15, we uh, we told him that we weren't going to do this, right? Like, even though our front porch, this needed to happen, it's not falling down yet, right? It's not in good shape, but this project immediately got put on hold, right? So think about that for a second, right? So this is it was like $2,800, and I live in New York, so I mean this probably would be less in other areas of the country. I understand that it's a bit of a premium where I live, but $2,800 was going to go to this guy. Probably 500 of it was going to go to Home Depot or Lowe's or the Benjamin Moore store down here in town. Um, but think about the economic activity that is not going to happen just from this one project. And I apologize for some wind out here. It's a nice day, but it's a little breezy. The $2,800. All right. So first of all, let's just do the Home Depot stuff. Let's just say, let's be a little bit more fair and say, like, probably 750 would have been lumber, supplies, paint, whatever. So you go through that, and the paint, right? Um, I don't care where the paint's made. A lot of the paint's made in China. Obviously, we can talk about China a lot, right? But the home, even the cheap Home Depot paint is made by people in a factory somewhere. People that have mortgages and probably families and rents and car payments. They're not getting that couple gallons of paint purchased from me, all right? And obviously, it's not just me. It's a lot of people. Yeah, there's still some home improvements going on, right? But a fraction, a small fraction of what was going on before. So the paint company loses out. The people that make paintbrushes lose out. The companies that make scrubby things and scrapers lose out. The company is different that makes primer. They're also screwed. They've lost a couple gallons of primer. The lumber companies, right? So I needed some stuff actually that to fix my front porch that does not. They don't sell at Home Depot, so it had to be, specially crafted at more of a sort of a semi-local mom and pop place. They're not getting that purchase from me anytime soon. And I will remind you that this is actually a purchase. This is one of the few things that could potentially be pushed out, right? Like a lot of the things that are disappearing in our economy right now are not replaceable. They're not double upable, right? A vacation. You can't take two vacations, down the road. A lot of these things go poof. Some of these things you can push, right? And a lot of this stuff is, it's pent up demand, but very little of this pent up demand will, hey, Showtime. Very little of this pent up demand will result in like multiple purchases, whenever the economy does come back online. But even from just my front porch project, which we had to cancel, you have the paint companies not getting my money. It's not a lot of money, but it's money. It's business. And the people that make the paintbrushes aren't getting money, and Home Depot is not getting the business. And if you go past the 750 and you go to the bulk of this, which was human labor, to this local contractor and the two guys that work for him, they're not going to get this $2,800. They're not going to get it. And this contractor is a small business guy. I know he has two kids. I'm not sure about his helpers, but they look like that they're old enough to have kids of their own, and they're not getting this job because we had to cancel this job because of this economy. Um, we're not working. This $1,200 check from the government is a joke, um, and we're simply not spending. And we're not alone. Everybody's in the same boat. People are just only spending on things that are the word essential, right? There's that word again. They're only spending on essential things. And but if you specifically look at the money that I have not spent, it is I didn't spend it because we our family needs that money now, right? Like our mortgage is still due, right? Our electric bill is still due. Our electric bill's gone up since we've been staying at home 24/7. Our car payments are still there, right? Even though we haven't been driving our cars. But the money that I'm not paying the contractor, who's a good guy, he's a great guy, he works hard, he does a good job, and he's a good man. He's a fair man, and it drives me crazy. It makes me very sad that I'm not going to be able to help him, right? Because I mean, it wasn't hell. It wasn't. It's not charity, right? I mean, I was paying him for his services, and again, that's the economy, right? The economy is me buying services from the contractor who was going to do a job for me because it's a job that I can't do myself, or I would do a bad job myself. And it's worth it to me to pay him a few $1,000s to take care of this thing. It's a big project. But he's not getting this money now. His family is not getting this money now. He may be getting some jobs. I mean, I do see some contractors working around, but it's not a lot. It's not a lot. The only people that are working right now are government employees and medical staff and liquor store employees, which is insane. Let me just go off tangent for a moment, but the fact that these states all decreed, lottery stores, liquor stores, and pot stores essential businesses is absolutely transparently fucked up because that's where the tax dollars come from, and I get it, but it is so wrong on so many levels. Because look, I don't personally drink. I'm fine with it. I actually, yay liquor stores. I have nothing against liquor stores, nothing against pot stores. I don't even have anything against the lottery, right? Even though I think very smart people have called the lottery a tax on the poor, right? Still voluntary, you know, buyer beware, personal responsibility, and all that. The fact that those businesses are essential, man. Good lord, it just is a window into how, sort of slapdash this whole thing is. But the fact that I'm not buying, hey, encouragee, welcome. The fact that I'm not gonna spend the money to get my front porch repaired is going to hurt the family of the contractor that I'm not hiring, and he's not going to be able to pay his rent. He's not going to be able to pay his mortgage. He's going to struggle feeding his family. He has a work van. I don't know if he owns that thing outright, but he's got you know, probably has some payments on that. And this is the way the economy works. When you cut off one thing, it affects another thing. And in normal times, that's a benefit. That we're all connected. It's this great organic network of voluntary, organic interaction between free adults. And that is not being allowed to happen right now by force. We are using government force under the auspices of, a health crisis and a national emergency and state emergency to restrict free adult human beings from working and being productive and feeding their families. And I'll say it again, but if you are elderly, you are at risk, or even if you're fearful, and I'm not going to judge you for being fearful. This virus is scary. I get it. But the rest of us understand the risk. We get it. Stop telling us what to do. You are using the force of government to control us and keep us down and keep us locked inside. And you are doing it with the excuse of public health. And again, if you feel unsafe, if you want to stay inside, please stay inside. I will actually help pay for your Netflix. Again, I want to support you in your personal decision. All right. I don't. I'm kind of done trying to convince you that I think that you're most likely overestimating the fear here. You're letting the fear control things. But let's put that aside for a second. Again, I get it. It's not like I'm judging you for that, but I get it. And let's put that aside. But the difference here is that you are using force, the threat of government force, to control me and keep me inside and keep me from earning a living for my family. The opposite is not true. The people that want to go out understand the risk. We are willing to accept the risk. And we are not telling you that you have to come out. We're not. You are welcome to do whatever you want to do, whatever makes you feel safe, whatever makes you feel comfortable, whatever you feel like you have to do for your family. That is A-OK. No judgments. But again, the opposite is what's happening. You are keeping us in. Right now, it's apparently a slim majority, right? And you have these governors who are obviously scared shitless to have any more death tallies on their watch. And I get it. It's like, as dumb as Cuomo was for filling those nursing homes with elderly people, and we'll go into that later. I mean, that's just monumental. That's just historical stupidity, governmental stupidity. But let's put that aside for a second. I get why a lot of these governors are erring on the side of indefinite lockdowns, right? But what we've done, okay, is not only have we denied the civil rights to free American citizen adults to take that chance, to take that risk. Again, what is it? Look, if you're locked in your house, you're quarantined. How is everybody else going outside and getting infected, which is really the only answer I keep getting? That's the only answer I keep getting, which is like, you'll go out and you'll all get infected. I mean, aside from you having to watch us all die in writhing pain on TV, what's your problem with it? Seriously. I mean, that's not going to happen. The mortality rate from this thing is 0.07% and falling. Hey, Jean Hong. The fact that we are locking ourselves inside and destroying our futures based on a virus that only kills 0.07% and falling people that catch this thing is nuts. It's nuts. That's a risk I'm willing to take. And I'm not going to infect you if you are locked inside. If you want to stay locked inside, stay locked inside. We'll start a GoFundMe for your Disney Plus. I'll help drop off, meals to you or some shit. I don't know. We'll work it out. But the way we've been going is wrong. The fact that we did not pivot to a protect the vulnerable strategy 6 weeks ago is probably going to ruin our lives for the next 10 years. And all the I do feel sorry for the millennials having to sort of come of age, after the financial crisis of 2008. But this is like that's like tiddlywinks compared to this. And I'm not trying to sort of compare this crisis to your crisis or whatever, but like my kids are going to have to grow up in the great depression because we as a society did not change our strategy based on new information. And that new information was that no, the mortality rate was not 5%. It wasn't even 3%. It's lower. We were not Italy. We were never going to be Italy. Once we realized that the fear was, for the most part, unfounded, it's still scary. It's still deadly. We get it. But so are a lot of other things. And yes, this is new. Yes, there will be new cases when people come out. We get it. We get it. Nobody said there wouldn't be. But again, you are controlling other people with your decision. The alternate strategy, which is sound, which is based on facts, is based on the opposite, is based on not controlling. Again, it is voluntary. Please, if you are vulnerable, if you feel unsafe, stay inside. We will help you. We will do everything we can to help you. But you have to stop telling the rest of us what to do. This is a one size fits all, draconian, myopic, non strategy. And it always has been. Maybe for the first 2 weeks until April 1st, maybe we can excuse that. But anything after that was just stupidity, was just stubbornness. And I think that you know it deep down. I think that you know it. And there's a lot of CYA going on right now. There's a lot of desire to have, and I told you so on your side. Like the people that are secretly rooting against Georgia and Florida and Sweden. And again, I know you're not necessarily hoping people will die, but like we all have that human thing, right? Where you want to be right so much that the calamity is almost worth it, right? And it's not, it's not good, it's not right, it's not healthy, it's not cool, but we still have it, right? We all have it. But the adults among us, try and avoid that. We try and manage that. We try and look at things through multiple lenses, and we try and make the right decision. And again, and to that point, I think that most of the people that want to stay locked inside are trying to make the right decision. Their hearts are in the right place, all that good stuff. And that's why I understand the fear. I do. I get it. And it's not like I'm not scared. You kidding me? I'd be lying if I said I wasn't scared. But I'm not pretending I'm not. All I'm saying is that I get it. I get the risk. And I'm willing to take it. Now, back to my project in the front, my house project. It's not going to happen. Um, that my poor contractor. Again, this guy. I don't know where he lives, but I do know that he's not a wealthy guy. He wasn't a struggling small businessman. I think he probably was Seemed like he works pretty consistently, right? But as people's disposable income dries up, and it already has for most people, right? And the more people that are laid off or furloughed, which is a fancy word for we don't know what the fuck to do with you, but we'd like to bring you back if we can reopen anytime soon. And not to mention all the people that have gotten haircuts, right? Not this kind of haircut, but a salary haircut. I know a lot of people that have more corporate type jobs that have had their salaries slashed for the year. This isn't even, we're slashing the salaries until we can kind of come back. This is like, you were making, 100,000, you are now making, 60,000. Count your lucky stars, you get anything at all, and you still have your health insurance, right? That's a lot of people I know. And their mortgages are not getting a haircut. Their mortgages are not going to go down. Their car payments aren't going to go down. And my poor contractor and his family, what are they going to do? They're going to live off this $1,200 check from the government. They're going to sign up for unemployment from the state and get a fraction of what he was making before if he can get through the system. Yeah, again, I think a lot of people would just shrug their shoulders at this stuff and say, hey, it's tough times and we all got to get through it and all this stuff. And that's all good. That's all, valid kumbaya, rah, rah stuff. I get it. Yay, positivity. I promise you, I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer here, but what I am trying to do is make the case any way I can to open up. We have to let ourselves out. We have to let our kids go back to school. Working parents can't work if their kids are at home. And especially New York and the New York City economy, there's so many working parents. And if these schools stay closed, and apparently they are, if the camps close for the summer, it's Thunderdome. I'm serious. It's it's going to be bad and completely avoidable, in my opinion. So, anyway, there you go.